I've worked at the Mail Recovery Center for 14 years. People call it the dead letter office, like a cemetery for envelopes. To me, it's a hospital. We try to save what we can. Most days are boring. Ripped Amazon returns, birthday cards with no address, boxes that rattle like regret. You open, read just enough to find a home, and send it on. You never read for a story. That's the rule. The blue envelope broke the rule by breathing. Thick hand addressed to Ms. Loretta Jean Parker, CO, wherever you are, brave enough to be. No return address. Inside was a letter in a small velvet box. The letter began, Loretta write it all this time. Same handwriting on both names. My mother's handwriting. I almost dropped it. My mother, Loretta, died in 2009. She worked nights at a diner, kept a tidy porch, and never left Georgia except once for a bus trip to Biloxi with church ladies. The envelope was postmarked May 8th, 2008, 1 year before she passed. I took a break I wasn't scheduled for and sat in my old sedan in the parking lot. The letter shook in my hands like a small animal. Loretta, or whoever opens this if you keep being a coward. You owe your daughter a story, not chores and good grades. In 1969, you had a baby boy in New Orleans. You were 19 and alone. You named him August because it was so hot you thought the air might catch fire. The nurse said you were doing a brave thing placing him with a nice couple. You have repeated that sentence for 40 years, like a prayer and a punishment. You told yourself you would find him when he turned 18, then when he turned 21, then when your daughter was grown, because you didn't want to share your shame. You watched every August with a held breath, and never once wrote the letter that would let you breathe. This is me writing it. If this envelope comes back to you, if your fear is stronger than your pen, then at least put the truth where someone you love can find it. His adoptive name is Michael Carver. The agency said he moved to Mobile, Alabama. The ring in the box is your mother's. It should have been his if you'd kept him. If you die before you send this, maybe your daughter will finish the job you couldn't. Loretta, who is tired of being afraid. The ring in the velvet box was familiar. Thin gold, a blue stone the color of sky after rain. Mom wore it to every graduation and funeral. She'd say, "A lady deserves one nice thing. Don't ask where I got it." I never did. I walked back inside, numb, filed the envelope as personal property, and clocked out early. At home, I pulled Mom's shoebox of papers from the closet. Birth certificates, report cards, a Polaroid of her in a red dress I'd never seen. Tucked behind the photo, a business card for Gulf Coast Family Services, New Orleans, and a faded note. Boy, August 28th, 69. Michael. I typed Michael Carver, Mobile, Alabama, and got a man my age, 55. Owner of a boat repair shop. The website showed him grinning under a cap, sea salt beard, a golden retriever next to him. I reached for the phone and pulled my hand back like it found a hot stove. What right did I have to drop a story like this on a stranger's dock? The next morning, I spoke to my supervisor. I told him the truth. He stared, then said, "Go." Some letters are heavier than the rest. He signed my PTO slip without looking down. I drove to Mobile with the ring in my pocket and my mother's voice in my head. Write it all this time. The shop sat by a slip where pelicans dozed on pilings. Michael stood at a workbench, sanding a wooden hull. Sawdust laid on his arms like pollen. "Can I help you?" he asked, wiping his hands. "Maybe," I said. "I work at the dead letter office. I'm here about a letter that never made it." We sat on overturned buckets under a fan. I told him my mother's name. I told him August and adoption and 1969. He didn't speak. He looked at the ring in my palm and closed his eyes. My folks always said I was a gift when they couldn't have their own, he said. I never wanted to make it feel like they weren't enough, but every August my bones rattled. I thought it was hurricanes. He laughed, short and wet. I guess it was me. I handed him the ring. He held it like something breakable and strong. Do you have kids? I asked. Two, he said, a son named Aaron and a daughter named Laura, short for Loretta. I didn't know why that name felt right. Guess I do now. We talked until the fan couldn't push the heat around anymore. He showed me a photo album. A skinny boy on a bike, a graduation cap crooked on a big grin, a wedding under moss-draped oaks. He asked about my mother, her laugh, her casseroles, whether she could whistle. She could, 2 fingers, and a train would stop. What do you want this to be? I finally asked. He looked at the water, then at me. A story we admit happened. And if you'll have me, a brother who shows up at Thanksgiving with too much green bean casserole. We drove to New Orleans that weekend and stood outside the old agency, now condos. We said the names we knew, Loretta, August, Michael. We left the ring on the riverbank for a minute, let the Mississippi hold it and give it back. Then we took it home. In Atlanta, I put in for a different shift. Earlier, so I'm home by supper. The dead letter office still hums. I still open what can't be delivered. But sometimes, when an envelope breathes, I listen for my mother's voice. Write it all this time. I try.